Hi, my name is Brittany Shields, and this is my presentation on the parent apathy case study. The first step is to identify the problem, and to do that we need to look at what we know. What we know is that Mrs. Rose is the new assistant principal. The principal sounds like he has been there for quite some time. There's no formal parent organization at the school. The principal feels that the parents don't want to be involved, that they're fine with the way it is, they don't need to be bothered, it's the school's job to take care of educating the students. And Mrs. Rose has voiced her concerns at least twice in meetings with the principal that she feels there should be more parent involvement, as she's just finished school and had a class on school community relations. What do we need to know? How do parents feel about the school, about their child's education? What can the school do for them? The principal might think he knows how they feel, but how do they really feel? What's the culture of the school? How do kids feel when they're in school? How successful are the students on state assessments or grades? How much are they learning? And what's the community like around the school? Are there churches, businesses, organizations? What kind of dynamic diversity is involved around the school? And I feel like those things can all help you decide ultimately how can we get more parent involvement and better community relations with the school. I mean, ultimately, I think that's what the goal is. And how do we get all parties involved to see the value to student success? How being involved with the school can ultimately be successful for the students. Plan of action. I think it's important to research the community, to start with what are the businesses, churches, community diversity, what's the makeup of the community, what has their involvement been with the school in the past. And then I think there needs to be a plan for promoting the school, helping the community to see what the school can do for them, and then what kind of two-way relationship they can have, and parents as well. What can the parents do for the school, and what can the school do for the parents? Sometimes we just look at that like parents coming in and volunteering in classrooms, and that's not always what parents feel comfortable with, and or what they even feel is their strength. And so maybe there are other things that they can do for the school that will ultimately affect the success of their student. And I think both of those things include getting information from the community, using surveys, forums, meetings, social media. How does the community feel about the school? How do parents feel about the school? Do they feel like their students are taken care of? Are they successful? Are they learning? I think everything kind of starts with information, and the more information you have, the easier it is to figure out what path needs to be taken. And I think utilizing those 8 parents that came to the meeting, they came to a meeting with very little information, with very little involvement prior to the meeting, and probably very little information or communication from the principal, and they showed up. So I think they would be big assets to kind of getting a school community relations plan and maybe parent organization started, or they could be the beginnings of getting some information. How do they feel about the school? What do they think needs to be done. So I think ultimately we're looking at what is best for students. By getting the community involved in the school and by getting the school involved in the community, I think we're ultimately helping student learning. We know that students are more successful when their families are involved. So if we can create a parent organization, if we can get a volunteer system in place where parents can sign up to volunteer, maybe then receive some training so they know what to do, and be in the school, be a part of the learning process. And by getting this school to help the community, students can feel more connected to the school and their community. And the more connected they feel, the more purpose they have, the more successful they'll be in the classroom. I think when you start thinking about these issues, I think ultimately you have to think about students. And we know that students are more successful when their families are involved in their education. And that doesn't necessarily mean that their parent has to come to the school during the day or to a meeting or things like that for them to be connected. I think there could be things like maybe just getting parents more comfortable with helping their students at home, understanding the math that's being taught, and then ultimately being able to help their student, or just having them feel a part of the school, making them feel more connected, and giving them tools in helping their student. And ultimately that leads to more success for students, which is more success for the school. Some unresolved issues might be kind of once you find all that information out, what are the next steps in like creating a parent organization? What's the volunteer process going to be like? Who is going to be in charge of promoting the school through social media, or what kind of events or things are going to happen to keep that connection going, because that's where I see my school fall down. We start out the year with lots of promotion, lots of information, and then we don't really have a plan. We kind of bombard them all at once when school starts, how excited we are, and then we don't follow up regularly, and I think parents start to fall off that too. Evidence for component 1, utilizing the 8 parents as the beginning, as the foundation of moving forward with community involvement and parent involvement. So we can kind of start that communication process, begin an organization for parents to have a voice, and being able to hear and have two-way communication with parents. Component 2, by involving the community and having a two-way relationship, this ultimately helps the student. When the student feels connected and have a purpose and they have support around them, they'll be more successful. And evidence for component 3, the school's success ultimately is contingent on the student's success, which is contingent on the student's happiness, connectedness, family support for their learning. So by involving parents and community, this will increase the opportunities for success.